because in Minnesota, to get one of those coaching awards, you have to be a member of the Coaches Association.
Were you the
And
only
because
one
I was a member of the Coaches Association, nobody else in the section was. Yep.
We welcome my dad, who is Doug Toivonen, aka Mr. T. A lot of your ex-students, because you were a gym teacher, phy ed teacher, whatnot, back in the day, called you Mr. T. Did they ever confuse you with the rapper Mr. T?
No, come on now. You are really aging yourself, because Mr. T, he was like a all-star wrestler. He was a TV star is actually what he was.
Oh.
Mohawk and everything like that.
I knew that. So he's not a rapper then.
I don't know. I don't think he's a rapper. Not Mr. T.
No, I didn't know there was a Mr. T.
What's that?
I didn't know that there was a Mr. T that existed in the entertainment world. So is this like 90s rap era?
80s. If you watched any of the Rocky shows or the Rocky movies, Mr. T was like kind of like a comic book hero. He was a muscular guy with a mohawk, and he used to say, "I pity the fool," and that was kind of like his shtick.
I think so kind of what you wanted Isaac, kind of like what you wanted Isaac to be like when he grew up.
Thank you.
Obviously, hasn't amounted to that, but there's still time.
Kind of built. That's how Isaac is built, but
okay. Actor and retired professional wrestler. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But by the time I started teaching, which was way back in 1989, he was kind of on the tail end. So it wasn't like kids knew who he was or anything like that. But as you know, Isaac, when people try and pronounce our last name, it's not always so easy. And then when you have elementary kids, which is what I started out with, it's a lot easier just to say Mr. T.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And you're right. I do miss being called Mr. T, because now that I'm, teaching in a different part, I do not hear that very often where kids will say, "Hello, Mr. T," or "Hey, Mr. T."
Yeah. And two reasons why I wanted to have you on. David and I were talking about this a bit earlier just through messages, but there's a little bit of drama going on in the Fargo sports world with coaching. And I guess we'll kick it off with that. So
yeah. I actually am kind of up to date. I mean, I kind of have been paying attention to what's going on at Fargo Shanley. I mean, I just saw the news, and what's the sports guy?
Dom Izzo.
Yep, he does like a podcast, or he does like fire. I can't. He interviews a bunch of different people, and I've listened to a few of them.
Yeah,
I listened to the different things on people calling in and what what's going on over at Shanley.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dom is he's a staple in the FM media and sports scene, whether it's youth, high school, college.
Yeah.
Isaac, do you want to walk through? Do you want me to start?
I think you should walk him through it, because you got the Fargo background, David. So I want to hear from you.
Yeah. So this is Doug, Mr. T, Coach T. We're talking coach to coach here. You mentioned that you're familiar with the situation. Obviously, we'll just, for viewers, kind of give a brief rundown of it. Fargo Shanley, Fargo's lone Catholic institution for high school students. Storied athletic program, some may say. Fired both their boys and girls basketball coach on the same day a few weeks ago. Results wise, and I want to preface with results, you may have different perspectives on if results matter as far as hiring and firing in high school coaching. I think perhaps depends on sport or school, but the girls team was coming off of a season where they made state, their best record in 3 years. Coach was a former NDSU basketball player, talented background. Now on the boys' side, the results weren't necessarily there to that degree, yet you had an alum of the program, coaching, excited about the sport, giving back. Both fired on the same day, and a lot of reports out there that it was parent related. Now, I'll be the first to say, as a Fargo guy, this isn't the first time. And it's not the first time at Shanley. Shanley, long before I was even in high school, known for letting coaches go because of parents. Obviously, in today's day and age, we're seeing that not just at Shanley, all over the country. And I want to preface, I am not, I don't know either of the coaches. I don't know anybody on the team. I don't know any parents on the team. We just know what we're seeing. But in my opinion, what we're seeing looks absolutely absurd. I'm curious from you, Doug, you've been around the high school sports scene a really, really long time. You've seen it as a coach. You've seen it as a parent, an athlete yourself. What are your initial thoughts on a scenario like this?
My initial thoughts are how tough it is these days to be a head coach. And we were talking about Fargo Shanley, like down here in Southeast Minnesota, there's a couple coaches that got kind of let go. That wasn't their choice. They were just kind of forced to resign. Travis's AAU coach, who has been successful and coaching girls basketball, kind of got let go at Lakeville South. So I think Shanley is probably just the tip of the iceberg of coaches who are going through that. It has been 10 years since I was a head coach, and I think things have even changed. I mean, things have changed a lot since then. I think there's a lot more kids and parents who are putting time and money into playing sports outside of the season. You know, they're playing AAU, they're traveling all over the place. And from my perspective, I feel like when they put that much money in, they are expecting something. They're not just putting that money in just to make their kid a little bit better. They want something at the end. Hey, I want my kid to be a starter. I want my kid to get a scholarship. I want my kid to be, you know, in the top 8, whatever it is. And when you're the coach, you can't look at what a kid, you know, who he played AAU for, or she played AAU for. You have to pick the 7, 8, and at least in basketball, the players who are going to give you the best chance to win a game. And if that doesn't match up with that parent who is, and Shanley's a private school, so they're already paying a lot of money to go to school there. So that's tough. I think down in Southeast Minnesota, Rochester Lourdes is one of the few private schools that's down here. And I know they have gone through some turnover in the boys basketball. And I always feel like, God, that would be a really, really tough spot. What makes it really interesting at Shanley is the guys coach was a alum, and the girls coach, I mean, everybody knows what everybody thinks of the NDSU Bison up there. And she was kind of like a legendary basketball player and had them turn, you know, they were going in the right direction. I saw they went to state and best record, and it's really surprising. With that being said, we don't know what was happening when the gym doors are closed or anything like that, but you are right, David. The perspective you get is, yeah, something really fishy is going on. And it'll be interesting to see who they get to coach, you know, after all of this controversy, because that's not going to be an easy job to step into.
No, and it's unfortunate. I think public, private school, regardless, you want outstanding coaches in those roles because, yes, you want to win, but you also want to develop outstanding young men and women. And when you go through coaches like Isaac went through String in college, nobody wants to coach in a situation like that. Now, I'm curious to a point that you brought up early on when you were speaking, the money component of it. That is fascinating to me because you see it in all sports. I mean, for tennis, if you want to be a good varsity tennis player, you have to play USTA tournaments. Now it's UTR tournaments as well, so things like that, camps. But what do you say to the parent who, you know, family has invested a ton of money in tournaments, camps, gear, whatever? The reality is some people have natural talent in a certain sport, others don't. The reality is, yes, there's the cliche of hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. I think that's true to an extent.
Right.
There are also student athletes that are just better than other student athletes. And how did you handle that situation when you were coaching?
I'll be honest. I did not have a whole bunch of situations like that. I mean, however what you did want to say, because we all were around, and Isaac will remember kids who were in his grade or younger, and all of a sudden in the summer they would go to this football quarterback camp, right? And they would spend all this money, and they'd come back and they were the top this person, they were the top this person. So they just assume, and their parents just assume, hey, they're going to come back and they're going to be the starting quarterback on the football team or basketball team, you know, the starting whatever. But then you watch these kids, you know, play and perform, and you're like, you're not better than this person. So all of that work is great. And you know, there's a lot of positives that can come on going to camps and working on your craft and trying to become the best player you can be. But you asked me what I would say is like, it doesn't guarantee anything. Like just because you go and you put that money in, I mean, does it give you a chance? Yes. You know, is it going to make you better? Yes. But does it guarantee anything? No. And that's the hard part to try and get people to understand, is that there is no guarantees, no matter how much money you put in.
And I would imagine for you coaching a team sport, that's a lot harder if that conversation comes up than tennis, for example. My dad coached high school tennis for 30 years. And growing up, I saw those conversations of parents reaching out to him of, why isn't my son getting more playing time? Oftentimes that went as, if, you know, did so-and-so play any tournaments in the off season? Did they hit it all? 9 times out of 10, the answer was, well, no, they didn't. And then for that 1 out of 10 time, it was, well, we have challenge matches. You don't have challenge matches in football, basketball, things like that. It's, I would imagine, more difficult.
Yeah, it is a little bit more difficult. And the other thing in basketball is, you know, you don't need everyone to be able to play the same way. I mean, there's roles that you play. There's kids that you need to play who are just going to are worried about playing defense. They're going to be your hustle guy, you know? So it's not just defined by, you know, who can go play AAU and score 10 or 15 points a game. Now, with that being said, I wanted all of my kids, or I wanted kids to go play AAU, but there was also some times when you would hear of some kids who were signed up to play AAU where you went, oh, shoot, right. This is not going to make a difference. Like, this is not going to get you over the hump. Just so you know, like, you know, because it's a lot of traveling, and it's a lot of money, and you hope they do it because, hey, it's going to be a great experience. I'm going to be able to play with a whole bunch of different kids. I'm going to get to play in a bunch of, you know, basketball in a bunch of tournaments. And if it helps me in my high school career, great. But I'm still going to have this really good experience.
Mm-hmm. And you coached at a lot of different levels for basketball. You were a, you know, JV coach, varsity coach for many years. But also I believe you maybe even coached like some you know, middle school stuff, or even some high school stuff.
My first year in Red Wing was the 8th grade coach, and then I was the 9th grade coach for a couple of years after that. And then after I was done coaching, after I was done with the varsity in 2016, then I went and coached the 7th graders for probably like five years after that. A couple of girls 7th grade teams too. So yeah, it was definitely a different experience. But yeah, you definitely see a whole wide range of skill and the way kids look at things too.
And also you coached some football as well, in middle school football, but also I think you coached maybe helped with the varsity team at one point. And you also coached tennis. You were the Red Wing high school tennis coach for I think it was three or 4 years.
5 years the boys coach, 3 years the girls coach.
Okay. Was there any other sports that I missed that you helped coach out?
No.
Okay.
Did you say baseball? Did you say baseball?
I didn't say
baseball.
You know what?
I coached baseball my first 3 or 4 years in Red Wing. Like my first couple of years in Red Wing, it was just like high school sports. I coached football, and then I coached basketball, and then I coached baseball. And so coached 9th grade and 10th grade of those.
Okay. So of all of those levels and different sports, where did you see parents complain the most?
Varsity.
Yeah.
So most of the time at the middle school, or, you know, the 8th grade, that lower level, a lot of times you had 2 teams playing so that all the kids would get a chance to play. Do you know what I mean? And most of the complaints, that I've dealt with have been in regards to playing time and, hey, I want my kid to play more. And at that lower level, and Isaac, you played 8th grade football. You know what I mean? Like, we had guys play offense, defense. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit easier to get guys into games and get them enough playing time so that they were happy and their parents were happy because they were participating. And then when you get to the varsity level, now you have lots of tough decisions to make because you have so many kids, or you have a smaller group of kids competing for a small number of spots that are available. And that it gets to be tough because as a coach, you have to make tough decisions. And I was fortunate enough to have great assistant coaches. I never felt like I was making those decisions on my own. But when you have great assistant coaches and you can, talk about things and that was one of the things, David, when I was coaching Isaac and Travis at the same time. And then my assistant coach, he also had a son that was playing. He was a little bit older than Isaac. I guess Isaac was a sophomore at that time. So we were kind of like, would help each other as far as like, hey, I'm going to coach his kid. He's going to coach Mike. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, make each of us feel better about that our kid was doing okay. So yeah, that was a nice benefit of having Neil coach, be my assistant coach for so many years in Red Wing.
That's a great perspective. And I appreciate you sharing that because that was one thing for me. Like, I had my dad as a coach, and it's a unique dynamic. And I want to hear more about that dynamic with you and Isaac and Travis. I know one thing similar to what you're sharing. Jason Thiner was our assistant. And Jason is a wonderful tennis mind. And so he was really good for me because even though like, my dad and Jason could tell me the same thing. Sometimes, there was still that inclination to maybe listen to Jason a little bit more because my dad was my dad. And no matter how correct he was, tennis wise or coaching wise, there was still that angle that he was my dad.
Yeah.
I'm curious from you, obviously, like you said, you got to make tough decisions. As coaches, I don't care what sport, we oftentimes communicate that, hey, just because you're not a starter, you can still be an absolutely, really, really important member of the team. And you can develop some great life skills. I look back to times where I didn't start or I didn't play number one. There's, the skills are endless, even though it may not seem like it at the time. How do you convey that message to parents that, hey, even though my son isn't the starting point guard, maybe he's a backup or he's the, 8th, 9th man on the team, that this can still be a positive experience that is worthwhile to their development as a person?
You said, how do you explain it to the parents? I never went to the parents and tried to explain that to them. Those are conversations we had with the kids. You know what I mean? Like at the beginning of the year, we tried to let kids know where they were at. Every once in a while you would get a kid who was, maybe he's a junior or a senior and he's not in the top 9, 10. You know what I mean? Like, try and tell them, like, it is going to be tough for you to play on the varsity. However, we want you to be part of it. I mean, this is what we would talk about. We want you to be part of the team. There's still a lot of really, really good things that, that can happen. You can have a great experience. You can play JV. And maybe things change between November and March. We don't want to guarantee or make any promises, but we wanted to try and keep as many guys on the basketball team as we could. We didn't want people quitting after their junior year because they weren't going to play varsity, on that varsity. We wanted to at least we wanted to make basketball a positive enough experience that they wanted to be part of that group. And I think we did a pretty good job. I mean, we had a lot of kids stick it out, but I also don't hold it against anyone who's like, you know what, that's a long season. That's a lot of practicing. And if I'm not going to get on the varsity, I'm fine with just going and, doing something else, getting a job, sitting in the stands with the fans, you know what I mean? And cheering or something like that. Nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate how you said that you had that conversation with players, because I think that is really important. I don't know if this is a universal belief. I think it should be, but the communication on that stuff, I think, should go directly through the student athlete, because that's a great, if it's the coach, why aren't I playing more? That's a great opportunity for them to talk about something really hard.
Right.
with another person, because guess what? They're going to have hard conversations later on in life too.
Yeah. We would try, and at our preseason meetings, we would try, and our athletic director always would do a good job when they would address the parents of, make sure that you are encouraging your kids to talk to the coaches first and not have the parents talk to the coaches. Just it's a bad dynamic when parents are going to the coaches and complaining, and it's a bad, there's nothing good comes out of that.
Does anything come to your mind with, maybe someone who's that 10, 11, 12 guy and they stay on the team and then they break through their, in those next couple months? Or is it like, no, it's tough to improve and go from that 10, 11, 12 guy to, breaking the top 7 or 8?
I don't remember. I don't remember from my experience as far as like when I was a head coach, but when I was an assistant coach for Craig Uveling, I still remember, and I can tell you the kid's name. His name was Jeff Rutledge. His dad is a doctor, and I'm pretty sure Jeff is a surgeon right now. Anyway, so his junior year, he was in a class that was really, really loaded, really, really talented. So he comes out for basketball his senior year, and it gets to be after the first 2 weeks, and Uveling and I was in the room too, kind of sat him down and said, hey, this is kind of where you're at, emotional. He's like, you know what? I wanted to be on the varsity. I think I'm going to, I'm just going to be done. I'm going to quit. And the other coach, I still remember, he did such a great job of explaining all the positives. Like, hey, before you do this, you are never going to get this time back again. You are going to regret this decision for the rest of your life. You are going to have 5 months to be with your friends, whether you're playing JV or varsity. Like, think of all the practice times and all the bus rides and all that other stuff, that you're going to miss out on. And I don't remember exactly how it worked, but I feel like let's say he quit on a Friday and then came back on that Monday and said, you know what, I'm going to stick it out. And he had an unbelievable year. So I was a JV coach. So I liked it that he came out, because now here's a really good player playing on the JV, even though he was a senior. He's just great attitude. Now, he didn't get to play like a whole bunch of varsity minutes, but because our varsity was so good, he got enough garbage time minutes. Do you know what I mean? And got to play on senior night, and it ended up being a positive. And I remember him coming at the end of the year and talking to the coaches, just saying, I just so appreciate that you guys kind of stuck your neck out for me and told me what I was going to miss, because when I reflected on it and I wanted to come back, I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. That's the one that really sticks out, that like, yep, we got that kid. No, he did not become a varsity player, but I think he would have regretted it. And I think a lot of kids, I think most kids would regret quitting, even if they weren't going to be a varsity player. Mm-hmm. You just don't, like, you guys know, I'm almost 60 years old. You guys are just about 30. You don't get that high school time back. You can't go back and rewind and wish you could do it again. So you got to take advantage of those opportunities. I hate to see when those kids would hang it up after their junior year or sophomore year or whenever.
Yeah, you're right. There really is something about high school sports that's special. Don't get me wrong. Being a college athlete, wonderful experience. But you've got so many irons in the fire. Being a full-time college student, there's frankly not a lot of time for the things that make high school sports fun. Like, for example, for us, it was like, I think of my senior year of high school tennis at South. It's like, yeah, practice was fun. Bus rides were fun. Matches were fun. But it was hey, it's a Thursday night. Like, after practice, like, let's go to Happy Joe's. It was let's go play Ding Dong Ditch. It was the yard signs during the state tournaments. And those are things that just, you look back and you're like, that was a really, really good time in my life. And I think it's fully okay to open the yearbook and say, those were freaking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way. I mean, I grew up in a town. I had 30 kids in my graduating class. So if you didn't play sports, you were just kind of left out. I mean, it's kind of even sad to say. I mean, that's just the way it was. But I look back at those times, and when you go to a small school, then you have those opportunities to start playing when you're younger. You know what I mean? Play varsity, whatever, when you're younger. Those were great times, and I wouldn't trade those for anything. I couldn't imagine not being able to play. Like, what else would I have done? That's kind of my perspective on it.
And we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but you coached tennis for 5 years for the boys and then 3 years for the girls, but you never had played, high school tennis or even like middle school tennis because, I mean, your school didn't have it and you focused on other sports.
Yeah.
What was it like coaching a sport that you hadn't had like a background in, you could say?
I really felt like I still remember going to practice. And by the way, I was a co-coach the first with the boys. But I really felt like a first year teacher, just nervous every day. And I wanted to make sure everything went okay. I felt like I was, even though I was, trying to think of how old I would have been. I'm probably 49, 50 years old. And I felt like I was being judged and I just wanted to do a good job. And because I felt that way, I worked hard to try and make sure that the kids had a good experience. I wanted to make sure that practices were organized and the kids were getting what they needed to get. With that being said, I just didn't have, and I remember talking to you, Isaac, about, hey, what are some tennis drills I can do? What's the one where you like, what's the one you always do at the end of practice?
Like GVS.
GVS.
Ground stroke volley
yes,
smash.
Yes. Greatest game ever invented. Like, you know what? No matter what happened in practice, you finished with that drill and everybody left happy. In fact, nobody ever wanted to leave that, whenever we played that. But I always felt like, because I was a Phi Ed teacher, I felt like a lot of it was I was teaching Phi Ed and tennis, or tennis and Phi Ed class, but those better kids, I felt bad because I wasn't able to give them anything. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't able to help them strategy wise or, skill wise or fundamentals or anything like that. So it was really interesting. I really liked it. It was a challenge. And I had such a nice group of kids to coach. So I really enjoyed it, but I kind of got to the point where, if we were going to be successful, they needed someone who was ready to throw a lot more time into tennis than I wanted to. And besides that, I didn't have the knowledge to like, hey, we're going to take a bunch of 5th and 6th graders and go out and hit, and this is what you're going to do. We're going to try. I didn't have that. So I did the best I could and had fun, and it was fun to learn something new. But you know what else, when I was nervous besides practice, because I went and watched Isaac play tennis all the time. Mm-hmm. And, in high school, and I don't remember if they did this in college or not, but in high school, you know how they introduce lineups? You know how the coach is like, hey, I remember being so nervous for that. Like, oh my gosh. Like, cause some of those kids I didn't know very well. We'd get some homeschool kids that would come out for tennis. God dang. Like it was funny because, I'm an old guy there just getting nervous about lineups. God, I just don't want to mess up some kid's name in lineups.
I just saw a clip on Instagram and someone probably sent it to me, but where I think I probably put it on my story, where the coach is announcing the lineups, but each kid has their own walk-up song. So
really?
Yeah, and then they have a nickname too. So it's like it's almost like the UFC in the way where they walk out to their own song that they pick, and then they have their nickname that they do. But the nicknames are hilarious, and also the music is hilarious too because they're high school and middle school kids. What would be your walk-up song if you were in the high school varsity lineup for tennis and your songs getting played?
Man, what would be my walk-up song? I'd always have to get my phone and look at what I have. Like
No Killers, Brightside, Mr. Brightside, or anything like that.
Brightside would be good. I really like the Foo Fighters Everlong, but that's not like a pump up song.
Also, other question that I have is, you were the high school tennis coach. Why did you choose to go and be the high school tennis coach, apply for that job and take over the reins?
Yeah, well, what happened is that so I teach at the middle school, David, and the middle school in Red Wing is also where the pool is. Okay. So when I'm done with my teaching day, all the high school swimmers would be coming to the pool and they'd be getting ready for practice, right? Well, there was the year that I got done coaching basketball, or she would be the next year. There was this kid who was a pretty good tennis player and had played doubles with Travis, and they did not have a tennis coach. And he would kind of be bugging me, Mr. T, come on, you got to coach tennis. You can. And I'm like, I'm not coaching tennis. I don't know how. And it just kind of kept going and going and going. It's Ben Schaefer, Isaac. That's the kid who talked to me. So, and Connor Bricky too. I don't know if you remember Connor Bricky. So he was also a swimmer. And then, the basketball coach who took over after me was also at the middle school, and he kind of approached me and said, hey, would you want to coach tennis together? And I'm like, yeah, I would do it together. I mean, we can give it a try. And that's kind of how it kind of came out. We're like, all right, we will do it together. We'll be co-head coaches and we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it wasn't like that was like your first experience, holding a tennis racket, because I remember, when I was, high school, middle school, you would always play against Mr. Newman, Neil Newman, whatnot.
Yeah.
And you guys would have some, battles out there. So like you were pretty good. I would say for someone who didn't have a tennis background, you were solid. You were very good at placing it. Athletic.
I can get the ball back. I don't have great strokes, but I'm pretty good at placing it and hitting it where I want to. However, David, when we play like drop serve. So we never like serve. It's just like, all right, 0-0, bounce it, hit it over. And now that's when the point starts. And we kind of had our routine of we'd play up to 15, got to win by 2. And then we just play best 3 out of 5 each time. It takes us about an hour to play. So not a lot of help. I couldn't give a lot of the tennis players a lot of help on serves or anything like that because I never really practiced them.
Hey, all you got to say is keep your left arm up, chest up, and brush up on the ball. No, I thank you so much for sharing that. And there's one phrase that you said right away when talking about coaching tennis. You wanted to create a positive experience for the kids. And I think personally, coaching tennis, whether it's at the high school level or the collegiate level, like that is half, if not more than half of the job. It's, the reality is the season is too short to, get too technical or change from a semi-Western grip to a Western grip. Sure, there's the footwork component and some of the, like we just talked about, brushing up on a serve, hitting a kick serve, but it's about fostering that environment. To be honest with you, like I coached college tennis last year. I won an award for my coaching. Yet the most common thing, thank you, humble brag, the most common thing that I would say to guys on changeovers was, how you doing on water? Let's take some deep breaths. Keep your feet moving 1 point at a time. Like common everyday language, which brings me to ask you, just across all these sports that you've coached, have there been some common denominators that really, we talk about multi-sport athletes, how there are so many benefits to that. How about multi-sport coaches? Like what translates from basketball to tennis or from tennis to baseball or from football to basketball? Obviously each sport's different, but
yeah. So right off the top of my head, I just want to, as you were talking about coaching tennis and me coaching tennis and basketball, I will say this. The amount of pressure I felt coaching basketball was much higher than the amount of pressure I felt coaching tennis. Just totally, totally different. David, I don't know if you ever felt pressure when you were coaching tennis at Cord. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, I don't feel like, if I'm being honest, like tennis isn't a high priority in Red Wing. You know what I mean? Right. I don't think tennis is a high priority at Concordia. It's not like, hey, if you don't win 10 matches, it wasn't like that. It's just like, hey, you know what? Give these kids a good experience. It is much easier as a coach to coach that way. Do you know what I mean? Because that's kind of just what you're worried about. Like, hey, but the competitive side of you is like, oh gosh, you know what I mean? It was really hard for me to go from being that varsity basketball to really dialing it back, just because the level of intensity and the level of commitment was just different. You know what I mean? So that was a struggle for me. I will say, so coaching like 8th grade football and coaching tennis, very, very similar as far as like, hey, we're going to get everybody, we got to make sure we have practices fun. We want to make sure that people are coming out next year. Do you know what I mean? We want them to keep showing up like, hey, I want to be a football player. I want to be a tennis player. Like, going to practice is fun.
Mm-hmm. And telling their friends to join too.
Level, you're not necessarily, you want them to have fun, but that's, you know what I mean? That's not your number one. Your number one priority is to make sure that you're ready. And if they run a 1-3-1 zone or a 2-3 zone, that you know exactly what you're going to do. And then if you have kids who aren't doing it, you know, whether it's the right way or not, now you have to get on somebody. Do you know what I mean? Now you have to, you know, coach with a little more, coach a little bit louder.
Yeah. That resonates with me, what you said about like having to dial back the intensity for tennis, because while I've never coached basketball before, minus our intramural team in college, was a real positive influence on the guys there. But that resonated because like there were times, I'm just thinking back now, or like watching one of our doubles teams play, and it's like in my mind, I'm like, if you just poached, like this guy's, you know, leaving it in the middle every time you serve up the tee, why aren't you poaching every single time? And it's just, you want to tell you guys, why the hell are you not doing this?
Yeah.
But it's, you know, you can't, because if I chew them out during a changeover, more often than not, somebody's going to turn into, you know, that's going to spook them. That's going to piss them off. And so tennis is so unique in that aspect.
And the level of tennis that I was coaching, you know, when I was coaching at Red Wing, we weren't like a strong team. So you had to be real careful about how much information you would give, because a lot of times kids weren't able or capable of taking that information and then transferring.
Trying to get the ball.
I mean, like, I'm like, hey, you know what? Just keep working hard. You know what I mean? Keep your head down. Watch, you know, it was not a lot of information. I will say this though, David, you got an award last year. My first year of coaching tennis, it was the girls tennis. I was the Class 1 AA assistant tennis coach, Section 1 AA. Yeah, assistant coach of the year for that section.
Congratulations.
Do you know why I got that award?
You know, tell me.
Because in Minnesota, to get one of those coaching awards, you have to be a member of the Coaches Association. And because I was a member of the Coaches Association, nobody else in the section was. Yep.
I tell you what, I mean, given your prestigious background and accolades,
that's a true story too. That's a true story. Like what? How? Why would anybody? Oh, I won by default.
I mean, that's right up there with the Lombardi Trophy, I'd say.
Pretty much.
Commissioner's Cup. I say you and I, we put our coaching minds together, kind of started Shattuck St. Mary's of tennis.
Assistant Coach of the Year. We don't want Isaac. What awards? He doesn't have any coaching awards.
No. He can be quality control manager.
Quality control. Yeah.
You know, buy the team granola bars and bananas.
Yeah. I would take a shot right now, but I'm not going to do that.
I think you should.
Not gonna.
I'm kind of interested because I actually don't know the origin story. When you and Numi started playing together, did you have like a background playing tennis, like, you know, pickup games or anything like that, or did you two playing together, you know, against each other, whatnot? Did that kind of spur your tennis playing?
No, I actually played when I grew up. I mean, they had like tennis courts, and when I grew up, we had like summer rec during the summer. Like you'd play baseball for 4 weeks, and then you'd have flag football for a week, and then you'd have tennis for 2 weeks. And everybody in town played baseball, but there was only 3 or 4 kids that would go down during tennis. But I would go down because I grew up in the McEnroe, Jimmy Connors. Do you know what I mean? Like those, they were Bjorn Borg. Like that was prime, like in the 70s and 80s. So tennis was like a big deal. So I actually did play in Starbuck as much as you could possibly. I mean, as you know, not very often, but enough that I had hand-eye coordination and everything like that. And then your mom was a tennis player, so we kept on playing tennis, during college and stuff. So then when I got down to Red Wing, your football coach, Paul Schmidt, because I was his assistant coach when I first got here, and he was the one who taught me how to do the drop serve. I mean, like taught the game, and then kind of became buddies with Numi, and then we just kind of took it from there.
Yeah. Do you and Mr. Newman still play?
It's okay. So I know you're gonna hate me bringing up pickleball, but pickleball's kind of taken over my racket sport thing. I haven't played with Numi this year. I play pickleball every morning, like 5-6 mornings a week. It's really hard to be old, and it's tough on my feet to be able to play pickleball and then go and play tennis. I did it a couple times 2 years ago. I did it a few times, and it was rough. So I don't know if I can handle that. So
does Numi still play pickleball, or does he play pickleball?
He does not play pickleball. I don't know if I don't think he plays a whole bunch of tennis anymore. I know we played a handful of times last year, but my kid got married in the middle of the summer. We ended up being like gone from Red Wing for like a month because we took a vacation out of it. So that kind of kept us busy last summer. So this summer though, Isaac, hey, you know what? I was actually thinking, Isaac, there is you and I never like compete or do anything together. There's a pickleball tournament in Red Wing.
Ooh.
You should come down and play. I'm trying to think because I played in it last year. And it was, kind of, end of July. Anyway, I was thinking, you know what? I know Isaac doesn't play a whole bunch of pickleball, but I know he'll figure it out.
Yep.
David, don't you think that would be a good?
Oh, you guys would have a blast. And honestly, like what I've found I've dabbled in pickleball a little bit and probably will play a lot more down here. But I played a few tournaments with Oliver back in Fargo, and it's fun because your tennis ability, it definitely gets you it gives you a head start. It certainly does. Yeah. But once you start playing actual pickleball studs who that's their sport, it's like, all right, you do have to adapt some of the game, the dinking back and forth, the patience. Yep. But I mean, you're a smart guy, Isaac. I mean, your mental game is going to carry you in pickleball. Also, that's my aunt's 75-year-old dog.
75.
Yeah, actually, hold on one second. I think he's shit in the basement here. You guys keep talking.
All right, I actually got a story. So before this, if you were to smell this room right now, it's radiating off of me. That's the beauty of a virtual podcast. I just got done playing pickleball for the first time this year. Yeah, there's a guy who I work with. His name is Sebastian, and maybe 2 months ago, it got brought up somehow, and he's like, "Oh, we should play together." I'm like, I'm down. I will never say no to playing some pickleball, playing any tennis. I'll never say no to that stuff. But I'm I'm not trying to psych you out or anything. But there's levels to this. If we play, I will destroy you. I will go out there and dink and play. And he's like, "No."
You told him that beforehand?
Yes.
Okay.
And because it's you don't want to go over there and them feel bad. I feel like you gotta at least tell them hey, there's gonna be a little bit of a level difference here.
Yeah.
So and then he's like, "No, I played a lot of pickleball in high school. We would play all the time." Yeah, no problem. And then the smack talk starts happening where come in the next time and start throwing subtle jabs. But anyways, we last week I was like, "Hey, I know you're gonna come up with some sort of an excuse to not play, but you wanna play pickleball tomorrow?" And he's like, "Well, I got soccer." I'm like, "All right, sounds good. You're scared." And we set the date to tonight at 5:30. So we go out and play, and of course, to the store manager there, I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna beat him lefty. I'll beat him 11-0 every single game. I'm gonna go to lefty."
Singles? You played singles.
Singles. And yeah, I'll talk about the doubles part of it too, but yeah, singles 1v1. So go over there today, and after the first, you warm up rally, I could tell after the first ball. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be annihilation. But yeah, it was we played 5 games. It was 11-0, 11-0. Then I played lefty and it was 11-0. Then we went back to right. He's like, I want to see the best of the best. And that was 11-0. Then we went back to lefty and it was 11-2. So,
How old is he? Like, is he any good at all?
I mean, I don't, I mean, it, I don't see, like, I view everyone as, I haven't met a good person who plays pickleball who hasn't played tennis before. I haven't met someone who would be able to like 1v1, and I get doubles is the more popular sport,
Yeah.
but I haven't met anyone. They've all had a tennis background. Zero people. Do you know anyone who's like really good at pickleball who doesn't have a tennis background?
Uh,
It
no.
That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying. Like pickleball's a JV sport. Like back to the
well,
core.
you're playing singles. When you talk about playing singles, that is a little bit more. You have to be really athletic. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot. When I say a lot of court to cover, I mean it happens quick. You watch good pickleball players, like it's you got to be pretty quick and athletic to do that. I can't. I'm not a good. That's why I like playing doubles because I don't have to move around as much. You know what I mean? I can usually, your strategy is, very similar to, each play and stuff. So, or each hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very arrogant of me to say, but like I always hate doubles because there's not two of me out. You got to rely on your partner. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's how I felt when I played doubles with you and you were at the net.
But like straight up now, you're like.
So what you're
Now
saying
it's
is
that
if you
cop-out.
and I play together, every time I make a mistake, I'm going to be like, oh, I let Isaac down.
No, it's not that, but like in the back of my mind after, if like they're dinking it to you every single time, they're like, oh, if we go to ice, you know what I mean? Then that's in the back of my mind. It's like, okay, we lost, but like you guys didn't go to me at all.
So you
And that's
think
why I
I'm
always
the guy they pick on?
I'm I'm not saying
David, doesn't it sound like he's going like he's already saying that I'm going to be the weak player in the mix?
Honestly, Isaac, I don't think you're that good at pickleball. Like I've never seen you play, but like I don't know. I think your dad is competent enough given his he's played before quite a few times. He's got a wise mind. I think you should go down and play it. Hell, I'll get my dad to come down. Well, actually, that's a strong maybe. But honestly, pickleball is so fun, especially in the summer too. Like when it's nice outside. But I could see Doug being sneaky good.
I can hold my own. I mean, I don't move very well.
That's why it's pickleball. It's not tennis.
I know. Yeah. He's so JV sport, all that kind of stuff. Like seriously,
I'll say this: it's been really fun. So like the store that I work at, like half of our clientele is pickleball, and just the Twin Cities is it's a very good pickleball community. Like a number of like pro players like in the region, but it is becoming more and more like, the narrative back in like the early 2020s was very much, okay, this is a grandpa sport. I mean, heck, there was a young woman today who stopped in the store who played Division I tennis at the University of Washington, and now she's on the pro pickleball tour, and she's like younger than us, Isaac. Like it's cool to see it adopted as like, a sport, yes, for that is accessible to older people, but it's a legit thing, and I would not be shocked 10 to 15 years from now if there's an NCAA pickleball championships, like if it becomes an NCAA sport.
Yeah, I like it because it gives. I mean, it creates another scope for tennis players to go and make
another
money.
Gateway.
Yeah. You have Jeannie Bouchard and Jack Sock and all these other ex-tennis players who can now go make a living, in this other space. Because like they're gonna clean up, So
Yeah, I
was
also
flipping
I
through
don't know.
channels last week, guys. Do you guys know like about this pickleball? It was like Agassi and not Ben Shelton. What's the guy's name?
Ben
Agassi.
Johns,
No, former
James
James
Blake.
Blake. Yeah, James Blake.
Yeah,
And it was Anna Lee Waters and Jeannie Bouchard.
Yeah.
Jeannie Bouchard was getting picked on. Like she was the one, like, because they ended up playing doubles. It was guys versus the girls. And because that Anna Lee Waters is unbelievable.
he's really, really good.
And Jeannie Bouchard was just getting every ball hit to her. And I'm like, wow, I bet she never thought she was going to be the one that was going to get picked on.
Right.
I was going to say, I just think it's fascinating that, like, the narrative obviously in a lot of places is you got to choose tennis or you got to choose pickleball. Like it's a one or the other. I think that's a load of crap. Like I understand resources wise, like that can be an issue, but I look at it this way. Let's say let's say there's somebody who's never played tennis before, never played pickleball. Let's say they pick up a pickleball paddle. I think by doing that and by playing pickleball, their chances of one day playing tennis increase versus if they had never, ever played pickleball. And I don't know. I think when one racket sport does better, it's naturally going to have a decent impact on other racket sports. Like we're seeing padel grow in the United States now. Obviously big over in Europe already, but it's growing here. I don't know if we're going to see racquetball come back. I think that'd be awesome though.
Yeah. It's good just to have people who are passionate about it and are getting out and moving around and stuff. And like you said, you can be an older person and still be able to move around for a couple hours and do that. And if you want more action and you're one of those younger ones and can play singles, some really, really good, pickleball when you play singles.
Mm-hmm.
And you were also a really good athlete back in your high school and college days. I remember probably one of the biggest reasons why I went to Concordia for my college experience was you got inducted to the Concordia Hall of Fame for baseball and football. And, you go up there as, a kid, maybe I was in middle school or something like that. And you just you go up to campus a couple different times and you kind of get accustomed to like, oh, this is kind of cool, walk around type of thing. And I honestly think that was one of the big reasons why I ended up going to Concordia. But what was your favorite sport growing up? Was it baseball? Was it football?
Basketball.
Basketball?
Yes.
So
I wanted to play college basketball. Like basketball was always my favorite. Like if I had a choice, like what am I going to go do? I'm going to go out and I'm going to shoot baskets. But my dad, your grandpa, when we, during my senior year and we were talking about, what I should do, he kind of said, you know what? I think you'd have a lot better chance to play if you played football and baseball. And I was like, yeah, because I always had some success playing baseball, like even when I was younger. So I felt like I felt comfortable that I could compete at that one, and I wasn't sure about basketball. So I was like, yeah, I'll do football and baseball. So yeah.
Do you regret that decision at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I wish I had given it a shot, but I mean, how many people go to college and play 3 sports? But yeah, I do. In fact, I remember after my freshman year of playing football, that summer, I tried to play a whole bunch of basketball because in my mind, I was going to go out for the basketball team. And what happened was that our football team had a lot of success. We got to the Final Four. I think we were in the Final Four. Rode my first plane. By the way, I had nothing to do with it. I was on the team, but I was not helping us on the field during the games. And then the season got so long that I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play basketball. And then I just never did.
For those Hall of Fames, because you're in the Concordia Hall of Fame, but then also, and you got a plaque with your face on it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then also you got inducted more recently to the Minnewaska, because you went to Starbuck, Minnesota, which kind of got absorbed into Minnewaska area schools. Yep. What was more special to you for amongst those two awards?
Oh, wow. I wouldn't put one over the other. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were both really, really cool. I will say that looking back, I was not surprised, sorry to be a little arrogant, that I was in the Minnewaska Hall of Fame. Like, I was a good, for a small town, I was a pretty good high school athlete, and if you look at the other people who were in there, like, yeah, I certainly was at those people's level. I never in my mind ever thought, I didn't even know very much about the Concordia Hall of Fame. So I was really surprised at that. So that was like, it kind of took me back a little bit. Because I loved my years at Concordia, even though I, didn't play even in football and baseball. I didn't really play football till I was a senior. I didn't actually, get on the field and play. And then baseball, I had a couple injuries when I was young, when I was, sophomore and a junior. So I didn't get to play a full season. So, so that was had a really good senior year, and it was really unexpected, but yeah, it was fun to go back and relive a lot of really, really good memories. And obviously, Terry Horan is up there, and we went to college together and we're good buddies, way back in the day, and still see each other every once in a while. So it was cool because he was also inducted that same year. So it was fun to catch up and relive the good old days.
Mm. Is there any other, specific accomplishment that kind of stands out to you that you're like, that was pretty cool that we did this, or, maybe sports memory from back when you were either playing or coaching?
No, not, that's a good question. When I was coaching basketball, when Travis's team went to the state tournament, that was like a really, really cool, special memory, just because, that's kind of everybody's goal. Kind of like you, David, winning, when you win the state championship, you're like, you know what? No offense to North Dakota, but you guys know you're going to make the state tournament. But
right. Yeah. There's a layer it's exactly. Yeah. It's making the state tournament in Minnesota is a big freaking deal.
And in basketball, we had been to the section final 3 years in a row and had not made it. And it's like, oh, come on. Like, and then when your kids are playing, Isaac got 2 chances there where we just couldn't get over the hump. And then with Travis being his senior year, you're like, come on. And we finally played really well in a section final. And so that was like a really, really cool memory. Isaac, how about you throwing the ball off the backboard at Chanhassen to win a game? That was a pretty good one too.
Yeah.
We didn't get an award for it, but we got a win. David, do you know this?
I feel like describe the situation, because I feel like you probably have told me at one point.
Playing Chanhassen, Isaac's senior year, and they made a free throw with like 1.2 seconds left to go ahead by 1. So we have to go 1.2 seconds, or we have to go the length of the court in 1.2 seconds. So we actually had a play. So Isaac had the ball out of bounds, and he threw the ball. And it was supposed to be a lob from, one end of the court to the other end. Well, he hit the backboard. Right there. He hit the backboard, and it ricocheted right to Travis, who caught it and scored. I think everybody was just 1.5 seconds, I see. Yeah, that's probably like the most exciting as far as like memory win or anything like that.
Have you seen this, David?
It's been a long time. I don't actually think I have. That's unbelievable. Did you like send that into like ESPN?
Do you want to hear a funny story about that, David? So Isaac, by the way, we were talking about this before we got on. Isaac, where did we go to eat after the game? Do you remember?
Chipotle, right?
To Chipotle, yeah. So we're in Chipotle, and I was talking to the managers, and I'm like, because at that time we used the old cameras, the nice ones I have now.
Oh, okay. I know. Yes, I do.
And we had called timeout, and they had stopped filming. They forgot to start it up, so we didn't have it. So I made a really tough email. I sent a really tough email to the Chanhassen coach the next day and just said, hey, we don't have, is there any way you could get, and he's like, we don't have it either. I'm like, you know what? It's just going to be a story. And then that next weekend, it was on like some high school rap or something like that on, CBS had like a thing where, hey, great plays that happen in high school sports. And someone told me about it because I remember going on the website and I saw it, and it was like a high school kid who was filming it and swearing, right? Doesn't he swear a couple times on it?
Can you hear it? Like when I played that, can you hear it?
I did not hear. Hear.
Huh. I wonder. Yeah. Yeah. I want to try this again because it's the words makes the video. I think more so. Let's see if there's a way.
So David, just to add on, while he's getting this set up, I called up that station. I'm like, hey, I'm the coach of the team and we do not have video. And I still remember she was so nice about it. Like, oh, absolutely. I'll send it right down. So sent it, sent a link down, and that's kind of how I got it. If you look there's Isaac. See that kid right in front of him? We were trying to run the play where Isaac's going to run one way, and then the kid takes a charge, like the big kid runs him over.
Yep.
So that kid could shoot 2 free throws.
The line.
Yep. That was play number 1. The second play was Travis, number 11 right there, was going to set a screen for this other guy, and that's who Isaac was supposed to lob it to. He was going to catch it at the rim, and Isaac just made a terrible throw.
Yeah, Isaac, were you did you just like overshoot your target?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The adrenaline was flowing because like you're down by 1, right? And we had practiced this play, like in practice, like this was a play that we had on the books. So like kind of what my dad was saying is, I was trying to throw it to Ben here, in like an alley-oop lob where he just kind of like throws it in type of thing. But yeah, the juices were flowing so much that I just had so much adrenaline.
God,
I still remember. I don't know if Isaac, if you remember this, but like the next week at practice, we got everybody lined up like where Isaac is, and like, hey, see if anybody can throw it and hit the backboard. Nobody could do it. Like, you know how hard it is to throw a basketball and hit the backboard?
It's an
unbelievable. Difficult. Yeah. It's
really difficult.
Yeah. So you can't hear this?
No.
I mean, great awareness by Travis there too.
Dang. The audio is incredible on it.
Yeah,
but maybe I'll have to link the audio whatnot after.
Yeah, a couple swear words in there. Yeah.
But what was it also like coaching, both Travis and I, where we're, in the mix for high school varsity basketball. I guess that was probably the only sport that and then you coached in middle school football as well. But what was it like coaching us two?
Yeah, well, and to clue you in, David, Isaac and I have had these conversations because I was way too tough on Isaac when he was when his sophomore, junior, and senior year. Mm-hmm. I wanted him to be perfect, and he was not going to be a perfect basketball player. He was a really, really good basketball player, and to my own fault, I just always wanted him to be a little bit better and a little bit better. So I felt like I maybe learned a little bit from my mistakes coaching you. I also think, Isaac, that you probably were much better at taking it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could yell at you when I say that, I could yell at you and you wouldn't come back at me, right? You wouldn't give me get pissed or anything like that. Travis was not like that. Like when I got mad at Travis, he would like come back at me.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, I don't want to say it like as a disrespectful, but he was just like, what do you mean? Like, I'm doing this and this and this. You know what I mean? If I ever yelled at Isaac for not, come on, you got to work harder. That was, it was stupid. That was just me being frustrated but he wouldn't say anything. Mm-hmm. Travis would, come back and say, no, I can't work any harder than I already, you know what I mean? Something like that. So yeah, I like to think I learned a little bit. So that I still feel bad about, some of the things that took, when I say, I mean, it wasn't like there was a whole bunch of incidents or anything like that, but just being tough on Isaac. Yeah. So
and you got to give yourself
I'm glad that he still had, I think he still had a really positive experience and everything like that. I will say that when you coach your kids in a varsity sport, there is some pressure that comes with that. You know what I mean? Like you almost have to have your kids be I felt like my kids had to be a little bit better which is wrong, but like just to justify them playing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I had a conversation with my dad once about so Davis Lawley was our top player at South, and Davis and I used to be pretty close back when I was a freshman. He was a 7th grader. Then the gap widened quite a bit, and he said to me, like, long after, he's like, David, I'm actually so thankful that like there was a clear gap between Davis and you, because I did not want to have that situation where, oh, why is David playing number 1 over Davis because of the something. And so, yeah, I hear you. And you also got to give yourself some grace too. I mean, I think it's really fun. I can only speak on behalf of myself. Isaac, I'm curious for your perspective, but I thought it was really fun having my dad as a coach because you got to watch your dad growing up. You got to see the backside of things, the things that most people don't see. So that gives you a better understanding, or it gave me a better understanding of coaching is really hard. Yeah, it's fun, but it's hard, and it takes a lot of passion. Like there's a lot of jobs out there where, it's easy to BS your way through the day. Most people I think would say that with their 9-to-5 job, but with coaching, you really have to like it. You really have to like what you're doing.
Yeah, Isaac, what is your perspective?
Yeah, no, I liked having you as a coach. And of course, taking it really far back, I think one of the benefits of having you as a coach was when we were younger, like little kids, like maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, even probably up until middle school, you would have, the end of the year spaghetti feed or pizza party, it would be at our house. So we would we would be in on that, or like bus trips back, we would ride with you. And, let's say we were to play against like Minnewaska or Alexandria, we're on the bus with all these upperclassmen, and we're, 4th grade, 5th grade. So you get exposed to, who some of these guys are, which was super cool. Some of them would babysit us. I remember, Jorgen Karlsrud coming over. I mean, even like guys like Joel, who's only 2 years above me, you're, go over to his house and get exposed to a lot of different things. And I really liked that. I thought that was super cool. In terms of being in, high school, there's definitely like a little bit more of a pressure, but I feel like that kind of helped me out in terms of my mental toughness in sport, and just like being able to like, not take things personally and just kind of like battling. I remember one time, and I remember this is probably kind of what you alluded to before, with you always wanted us to be a little bit better and probably had higher expectations for us than maybe the rest of the team, just because it's your kid, which makes sense. But I was a freshman, and, I was probably, one of the better players on JV, maybe could even crack the varsity lineup. Maybe it was like, I was maybe like the 9th guy, in maybe 9th, 10th guy. And we were doing a 30-second drill during this is practice, where you essentially have to keep the ball away from the opponents for 30 seconds, right? You're up by 1, 30 seconds left in the game, and you don't want to get fouled. You don't want to go shoot free throws. You just want to pass the ball around and keep it away, right? Burn out the clock. That was kind of the drill. And there was 2. So of course, like 5-on-5, you have your, 3. I think there's three teams kind of rotating in. We had, Dylan Gorman. He was a senior at the time. I think he threw the ball away, and you're like, you got mad. You're like, cause it's end of the game situation. Then some other upperclassman throws the ball away, and like you're fuming. It's like we're running. If this happens again, we're lining up and running type of thing. And I remember I got the ball, and like your hands are just shaking, like don't turn over the ball, don't turn over the ball. And I throw it, and like the guy goes back door, like it's that classic.
Yeah.
They make a juke, so then you throw it, but then they're going back door. It's like, and then you throw the ball away. And you left the gym.
What? Did I really?
Yeah, you left practice. I remember because you were so mad. And I think everyone just kind of like looked around like what? And Mr. Newman, who was the assistant coach, JV coach, he just took like 5 seconds, like, all right, everyone, we're starting dribbling drills. So we're all just like going over. Oh, it's so funny. But like, I just remember, and then you like came back and you had cooled off, whatnot. But that was one specific memory of that. But
wow.
Overall,
so you were with the top group then? Or was it like 5-on-5? Like everybody was kind of equal. So like you said, you were 9th guy, so it was like the top 10 guys going against each other. Or was it 3-team thing?
Yeah, it was 3-team thing.
Okay.
And yeah, it was like we were probably like the second, the next 5 kind of thing, or even the third 5. I think there was 3 groups of 5. You had your varsity guys, your next guys, and then we would just kind of rotate in. All right, next team's in. Play defense. Okay. So, yeah. But yeah, that was a fun, interesting memory. But no, I think overall, like I said before, it probably was for the best. I think you just kind of develop that mental toughness when you have a little extra pressure, So yeah, I liked it.
I like that. Yeah, that's a great memory. Like, and it makes me think of like, I wish that my memories were more so like that. Whereas like when I think of like the intense moments with my dad coaching, it was normally when I displayed really poor sportsmanship and he would just get on my ass. Like I was never bad to opponents. Well, sometimes I was, but like there was this one time where I lost to somebody that I shouldn't have lost to. I'd never lost him before. And then after the match, I was like, I bit my towel and thought I was yelling into my towel. I was like, you just lost to effing, like, and then I said the guy's name. Apparently it was a lot louder than it was. Like my dad came sprinting down from like 3 courts over, like chewed my ass out, made me apologize to him, his parents, their coach. Like it was so good for you for putting your head down, Isaac.
Isaac, I never had to worry about Isaac in sportsmanship. You know what I mean? He was very, very competitive, but he never did anything stupid. Like, I mean, David, I was like you. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a poor sport. When I lose, I'm a big baby. I will freely admit that. Isaac was never like that. Certainly not during basketball. I know he likes to mumble a lot when he's playing tennis, but he would like never cheat or anything like that just to win. So he gets that from his mom because his dad's a big baby.
Yeah, I was the kid who, I was just a mental head case in general, but yeah, there were the number of times that I would like cry after a loss. I was a big baby. Thankfully the family jewels have dropped and we're in a better place now.
Yeah.
Is there, I always got one question, to end the interview. We've been, chatting for an hour and 12 minutes. Appreciate your time, Dad.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to actually talk to you and see you when I'm talking to you.
Yeah, for sure. And also too, like, I mean, during this, you talk a little bit more in depth about things, and, I learned some stuff today too that I didn't know previously. But yeah, Noah, wanted to see if you have any specific shout outs that you want to give, anything that you want to put out into the world.
How about a shout out to Red Wing basketball, Red Wing tennis, and Red Wing football? How it's been so long since we talked about those 3 sports, right? We usually talk about a whole bunch of different things. So it was fun to relive some old memories. And yeah, how about that? Shout out to that. Shout out to Concordia College also.
There we go. Shout out Wingers, shout out Cobbers. David, appreciate you being on as well. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for listening.